we will be sidelined, forgotten, and in that way we risk losing what we are so proud of, our freedom. But first of all, we have to admit that we are living in a tremendous time of change, a time of tremendous change. I think that it's a very, rather difficult process to go through. And, as somebody who has been in politics for 4 years, as a minister for 4 years, and in politics, way longer, I've seen how difficult it is to adapt to that change. We had to go through global pandemic. We had to go through a geopolitical change, now technological change, and just admitting that we have to be way faster with our decisions that we're making, with the processes that, with the way that we run the country, or the way that Europe is run, that they have to adapt to the speed of the change is a very difficult one. When you accept that you are living in a time of change, then your processes start to change as well. First of all, you change within, so that your external change could adapt to the outside world. As coming from a country that has been so close to the geopolitical change that I mentioned, so close to the war against Ukraine, we had to go through an element of changes, through a lot of changes that needed to be implemented in my country, such as, for example, spending on defense. The country, even though we're full-heartedly supporting Ukraine, does not immediately understand or kind of jump into the conclusion that it is also about us. This change that we're seeing happening geopolitically in the region is also about us, that we could be the next target for Russia's imperial expansion, and that means that we have to be politically prepared. As citizens of the country, we have to be prepared, and of course we have to be prepared from the defense perspective, with spending, with equipment, with everything that comes with it. So these are the couple of examples as to how the change affects people, countries, and societies. Well, international diplomacy is a very peculiar scene of negotiations. In most cases, it's very regulated, meaning that there are very high and specific expectations as how can a country, a person behave in that diplomatic surrounding, so to say, especially when it comes to negotiations. But as well, it's rather unscripted. That means that there are elements that can be brought into the negotiations, and each time can be so that the table can be rearranged, and the negotiation tactics can be rearranged in a sense. My point, again, through 4 years as a minister, was usually to prove to change a mindset that international negotiations or international diplomacy is run by just real power. That means that if you are a big country, if you have big army, big economy, this is where you matter. And point is that we are living in times where we have to remind that each and every country is a subject of negotiations. That means that we have to, return the sovereignty, return the power of, negotiating power to a country, for example, like mine. And then you have, several tools for that. One of them is publicity. In many cases, if you limit your conversation just between you and your, bigger negotiating partner, it might be very difficult to achieve anything because just of the disparity of power. But if you bring in the support of the people, of the societies that support your cause, especially if they can relate to the cause that you are bringing to the table, then your nominal weight changes at the negotiating table. So that's again just one example as how can one equalize different sizes, different strength at the negotiating table. But one thing is clear, that all diplomacy, all foreign relations is a non-stop negotiation that is ongoing, day and night, 7 days per week. My hope is to share the part of understanding that I believe I have when it comes to a very fast changing world that we live in, where almost every day, every single day, every news announcement that comes up in some way does affect our lives. Doesn't matter if we are in politics, in diplomacy, in business, or just minding our lives. We're affected by the everyday decisions that are being made by the world leaders, by the politicians, because I would like to call this the movement of world's geopolitical tectonic plates. Now we are in unstable time. That means that moving on one plate will affect everything else, and I believe I can share my understanding of what it does mean. How will it go further? How it will further affect us, and what can we do in order to be better prepared, more resilient to that change?